Hey kids, welcome to another episode of the Handsome Genius Club radio show, this time in video. I'm giving this a try, and helping me do that, as you can see to my left or right or whatever it might be on your screen. I have to reverse some. I know I have to reverse some things on the screen now. Is the very lovely and talented star of Kim's Convenience, and for Star Wars fans, he is now Captain Carson Teva. If I got that right? Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Sun-HYUNG Lee. Hello, Paul.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. I'm honored that I'm on your first ever video style for the podcast.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it. Paul and I met at it was actually one of the Fan Expo Canada Christmas markets a few years ago. That's right. It was the December Christmas market, and you were in Ghostbusters gear because you are a ardent, fervent cosplayer, which is I always find hilarious and fun. And that's how we met. And you were ridiculously friendly and personable from the word go. So absolutely, I was going to take advantage of that and try and get you on the podcast at some point, man. So, you're currently in Vancouver. You're filming a new series for Netflix. Why don't I let you tell everybody what the show is and who you're playing?
Yeah, sure. I'm currently shooting the live action adaptation of the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender. Not to be confused with Avatar, the James Cameron movie franchise with all the blue people, the Na'vi and whatnot. This is completely different. It's based off the Nickelodeon animated series from 2005. I believe it ran from 2005 to 2008. Ran 3 seasons, about 60 plus episodes. And this is not the first attempt at a live action adaptation. Back in, I believe, in 2010 or 2012, M. Night Shyamalan tried a disastrous remake of it. And I think the fans are still reeling from that, because I think a lot of the stuff that we get online socials is don't do what M. Night Shyamalan did. Which is a given, I think. But so I'm out there shooting that, and I've been cast in the role of a general or Uncle Iroh, who is, for those of you who know, is Prince Zuko's uncle, and one of the main members of the storyline. So I'm out here doing that.
And you were saying it's an 8-episode series.
It is.
Do we
8 episodes, 1 hour. 1 hour each.
1 hour.
I have no idea when it's going to be airing. My best guess would be, at the earliest, it would be at the end of this year. This is a $100 million, like, this is a very expensive show that we're shooting right now. We are using cutting edge, state-of-the-art technology, same as on the Mandalorian. Actually, it's ILM volume. Yeah, we're using the volume. It's not the ILM version of it. It's Pixmodo. So it's a different it's a different company, but basically the mechanisms are identical. It's just a different proprietary sort of name for it and whatnot. But we're on the volume, and in fact, the volume that we're using, one of 2 volumes, is considered, as of this recording, the largest in North America.
Oh, so, very good. Okay. Yeah. And what's your relationship with the source material? I know you're a fervent comic book fan, and I would assume a big manga fan as well, and big.
You would think so. You would think. Well, in my youth,
I shouldn't say big, but I don't want.
I'm familiar.
Yeah,
I have a passing familiarity with some. It is a part of my fandom that I've used to really sort of dig deep and explore. There's just so much content out there right now. And so my association with Avatar is I did not watch it the first time it came out in 2005. We didn't have Nickelodeon, but I actually ended up watching it in 2018 based on the recommendation of a friend who was watching it with her son, and she said it's probably one of the best written animated series I've ever seen. And so based on that, I started watching it, and absolutely adored it. I thought it was great. And so being back in 2018 as well, I think that's when they started sort of fan casting some of the roles, when they heard that Netflix was going to be doing a live action adaptation of the show.
Okay.
And almost immediately, a lot of fans fan casted me as Uncle Iroh. And so I was really kind of very flattered about that. But I was doing Kim's Convenience at the time, so I was completely unavailable to do any other show because of that. But then, flash forward 4 years later, or 3.5, 4 years later, and here we are.
Tell us about Uncle Iroh.
Uncle Iroh is part of the Fire Nation in the animated series. There's 4 different countries, basically. There's the Fire Nation, the Earth Kingdom, the Water Tribes, and the Air Nomads. And they each represent one of the basic elements: water, fire, earth, and air, obviously. And in the world, as it speaks, right, in the story of Avatar, basically, they have these special beings called benders, and they're people who can manipulate these core elements. So a waterbender could obviously can control or manipulate water. Fire Nation, it's fire. For the air nomads, it's the air, and for the earthbenders, it's the ground. And so Uncle Iroh is part of the Fire Nation, and basically the story is every 100 years there's an avatar. No, not every 100 years. Every generation there's an avatar, and the avatar is the supreme being who can master all 4 forms of bending, and they are the one who is supposed to bring balance and peace to the world. And in this storyline, the avatar has disappeared for 100 years, and the Fire Nation is an aggressive nation, much like fire. It is a lot of people in the Fire Nation believe that true peace can only come through their domination of the world.
Okay.
And so they've waged war while the avatar has been gone, and the avatar has returned, and you find a world that is at war. And Uncle Iroh was a general for the Fire Nation, one of the most feared members of the Fire Nation. In fact, he was supposed to be next in line to be the next ruler of the Fire Nation. And following the siege of one of the Earth Kingdom's largest cities, Ba Sing Se, his son gets killed, and after that he's a changed man, and he no longer wants to fight. And without getting too deep into it and spoiling storylines, you see that he's not everything that you think he is. There's much more to Iroh than meets the eye, and he's a fascinating character, a character that for me, because I'm doing my version of Iroh, I'm not going to be doing like a straight up mimicry of the great Mako's performance in the animated series. The scripts are different, obviously, but I need to make it my character. And so there's an extraordinary amount of reverence and respect for the source material on my part, on everyone's part, but as well, there is, because the stories are different, there has to be, in terms of a performer in me. I mean, that's why they hired me, because they have faith in me as a performer. And my job is not to copy someone else's performance. My job is to make this character my own and bring the heart and the humor and the levity but also the gravity of this character to life. And so it's been a fun go. It's been a great challenge, and I'm really excited to see what we can share with everybody, especially all the fans.
I want to challenge you on saying it's been fun, because when I saw you in Vancouver a few weeks ago, one of the things you said to me was how long you were spending in the makeup chair before and after a shooting day happens. How long are you spending in the makeup chair, Paul?
Well, the first time we applied all the makeup, And to be fair, we were setting the look for the character. It was a 6-hour process.
Oh,
because
man.
I had to be fitted. The hair pieces had to be cut and trimmed and styled. Same thing with the beard. I mean, everybody notices, oh, you've shaved your mustache. That's your Iroh look. And it's so not my Iroh look. It is, I mean, you gotta wait. You won't be able to recognize me. It's so cool. The hair and makeup department are outstanding. And we've got it down to now about an hour and a half for the application of the hair pieces and the beard and all these other, and the makeup itself. So and that is something that's very new to me. I mean, I'm in and out in less than 10 minutes because they put a little bit of anti-shine on me and they go, nah, you're fine, and I go. And that is the extent of the makeup stuff. Yeah.
Here's anti-shine. Do I?
Well, you don't have to worry about it right now.
A quick chamois.
No, there's powders, there's creams. It's an incredible process. And so, yeah, so for me to sit in a chair for longer than that is completely foreign.
Right.
And you know, it's getting used to it because I get called in super early in the mornings to get prepped. And obviously they also they plan for extra time just in case something goes wrong or whatever. Like the ADs, they like to schedule a cushion. So oftentimes I'm ready to go and I'm still waiting because they've added that extra time to just in case, that insurance time.
What's the removal time like?
Yeah, well, the removal time has gotten better now, which is great because we're actually starting to integrate a little bit more of my hair into the build, which is wonderful. It's a big time saver. And it's more freeing too, because I don't feel like I have a ton of stuff glued to my face anymore. And I think, you know, hats off to any performer who has to undergo a long prep period and have to act in any sort of prosthetics on their faces, be it wigs or like masks or whatever. I mean, that is really challenging to try to get your personality, the performance through all of the makeup and whatnot. It's been an adjustment period for me, but again, it's like when you're ready to go, it's transformative, right? It's a lot of fun, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, there are times I'm looking around and we're on this $100 million set, state-of-the-art set, and I'm looking at everybody in the gorgeous costumes, and you know, you see the production design and the magics that going around, and I'm just sitting there just sort of pinching myself going, I get to do this for a living. Like I'm doing this. So like I never thought, even as you know, as far back as 5 years ago, that I would ever get that kind of an experience.
Yeah.
So it's been for me. I mean, you talk about core memories. Like even now, I'm almost 50, and I've got some more core memories that are part of me, such an intrinsic part of me now. And so all of that really for me is it creates a feeling of gratitude, and I take it seriously, and you know, and I'm also enjoying it too, because I never want to take that for granted. It's taken me this long in my life, in my career, to sort of live out my dreams and to be able to play. I mean, when I was a kid, I dreamed about being in Star Wars, but never thought I would ever get that opportunity. Now I've done it. And so I never, ever want to take this for granted. I never, ever want to sort of get bored and go, oh, yeah, it's, you know, that's just
another day.
Yeah, it's just the volume. Oh, I got to put this costume on again in the X-Wing again. Or it's like, I never want that. It's never, you know, because once that's done, I'm out. Like, honestly, kick me in the face and get me out. So
yeah, let's start working backwards a little. How did the Star Wars gig happen?
Oh man, I mean, in 2018, basically what happened was I got invited to the Unforgettable Gala in Los Angeles, and basically what that is a celebration of Asian North Americans in the media in Los Angeles. It's an annual sort of event that they have to sort of build up the community and celebrate. And I didn't want to go because I'd never been to Los Angeles before. I didn't want to go by myself. So I basically said that the only way I'm going down there is if the entire cast of Kim's Convenience goes down, because I didn't want to go by myself. And so they agreed to it. And so the cast went down. And while we were down there, it was at the Beverly Hills Hilton. And they hold like the Golden Globe Awards there. Then, you know, a number of big sort of award ceremonies are actually on that site. And so, you know, down there and just I've going through the red carpet process was insane, because I've been through the red carpet stuff, the biggest stuff that Canada has to offer. And the red carpet event for that niche sort of small community event was like 5 times the size of what Canada has.
Okay.
And so that was like really like, holy crap. And this is for like the Asian American market only, right? And it was just tremendous. It was huge. It was huge. So we're there, my head's spinning, and we're at the Beverly Hilton, and this woman jumps in front of me, and she says, "Hey, Paul, do you remember me?" And I'm like, it was Deborah Chow. And so I was like, Deborah, yes, of course I know you. Deborah Chow, back in Toronto, I met her 25 years before, and we were both working at the Factory Theater. She was part of the administrative staff there, and I was there as on a grant program to learn about arts administration. But Factory was going bankrupt, so there was nothing to learn. And I was basically there. I was used as a janitor and like a daily laborer while I was there. But Deb was there, and she was cool, and she was an aspiring filmmaker, and I was an aspiring actor. And she said, "Hey, you know, like, do you want to be in this short film of mine I'm shooting?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we shot A Day in Chinatown. This is 25 years ago. And then, you know, my gig ended at Factory. Deb disappeared. I went my way, and I hadn't seen her again until she jumped in front of me. And so I was like, "Where have you been? What's going on? What are you doing in Los Angeles?" And she said, "Well, you know, that short film got me into Columbia Film School, and I became a filmmaker. And now I'm in Los Angeles. I've been working down here directing different TV shows." I said, "That's great." And she'd been directing shows like, you know, Better Call Saul, Fear the Walking Dead, Jessica Jones, you know, little boutique shows, right?
Yeah, little shows, yeah.
Right. And then, of course, she says, "You know, right now I'm shooting a series called The Mandalorian. Have you heard of it?" And I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" "Yes, I've heard of it. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd." Like, you know, I'm a Star Wars. Well, she didn't know I was a Star Wars nerd, but it was like, "Yeah, no, absolutely." She said, "I've been trying to get in touch with you because Dave Filoni, who's one of the executive producers on the show, he's also done Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels. So he's kind of known more so now that The Mandalorian's hit. But back then, you kind of had to know who Dave was. If you didn't type thing." But she said, "You know, Dave Filoni's a big fan of Kim's Convenience, and he's been wanting to write something for you." And I was like, "Get out." I was like, "You do realize I have like 8 Star Wars cosplays at home. I live and breathe Star Wars. This is my jam." She said, "No way, really?" I said, "Yeah." And so I showed her the pictures of my cosplay on Instagram. She was like, "Send them to me. I'll send them to Dave." So she texted them to Dave on the spot, and he texted back and said, "Oh, he could just wear his costumes to set, right, to work." And so that sort of became that whole process where it was just like, you know, you feel like Cinderella at the ball. I was already feeling that way anyway, and then this drops. And Deb said, "So what are you doing tomorrow? Because you should do a set visit." And I was like, "I'm going back to Toronto tomorrow." She said, "Oh, you can't change that?" I said, "No, but can I come back?" She was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So 3 weeks later, I came back and I visited the set of Mandalorian for season 1. I got to see Deb work. I got to see Dave work. I met Dave Filoni. I met Jon Favreau. I saw Baby Yoda for the first time. And this was like I saw him coming doing the puppet work, and I was like, "What the hell is that? Oh my God, are you kidding me?" And they're like, "Don't tell anybody." I'm like, no, I'm not gonna tell Zoe. But it was a blast because I got to hang out with the props department, and I'm huge into replica prop building and just prop making in general. So that was a lot of fun. I got to hold a blaster that was used in Return of the Jedi. I got a guided tour of like the wardrobe department and the administrative offices from Dave Filoni. We went out for dinner together. Like it was just like a dream. Like I was dying, like just as a fan to get to peek behind the curtain and to get to hang out with Deb and with Dave, and like really hit it off with Dave as well was awesome. And then like 6 months later, my agent gave me a call and was like, "Hey, so Lucasfilm called and they want to know what your availability is." And so it was like, there we go. That was that.
That's
and
fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I'm going to guess that you thought this was going to be a one-off proposition, one and done, or did somebody tell you early on, yeah, you know, we might reuse this character. You might be back, or you will be back.
No, I had no idea. Honestly, it was just I didn't even know what the character was.
Yeah.
Initially, they used code names for everything.
Yeah.
And my agent, she's retired now, but my agent at the time, she's decidedly not a Star Wars fan, so she was like, it's for the role of the foodie pilot, and that was the code name for it. And I was like, foodie pilot? What the hell does that mean? Like, does he run like some sort of intergalactic food truck? Does he feed it? I said, I don't know. And I honestly thought that I was going to be under like 25 pounds of latex.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't care. And then we find out later on that, oh no, he's like, it's a face character, and it's 2 episodes. So I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. That's like more than a cameo. I'm a recurring character now.
Yeah.
Which is great. And so I didn't, with these things, the scripts are so secretive. They only give you your slice of the pie, right? So I just had my lines. I had no other context for anything else, basically. And so I didn't know if I was going to come back or not, but like I didn't care. I was just at that point, it was just like I was living the dream, and I was able to be there. And so I was really, really happy that they were happy with my work, and that they asked me to come back for Book of Boba Fett, which was awesome. Because honestly, I thought I was doing Mandalorian season 3, and I didn't find out until the wardrobe fitting that it was actually for Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So it's nice to be asked back. It's nice that they like you enough that they want to give you something else, because they certainly didn't have to, right? And it is Disney, but they had to get me a visa. They had to rush me along, and they had to pull a lot of strings to get me on that show. Yeah. And so I'm even more grateful for that. It's like when they want you, they want you.
Yeah,
so
that's fantastic. So now you've done Mandalorian and you've done Book of Boba Fett. Anything else coming up with them? Is there anything you'd like to tell us that maybe you've got some time blocked out to go stand in their version of the volume again?
Yeah, no, I wish I could say I got nothing. I'm sorry. I mean, I would love to come back, obviously, but it's one of those things again. It's just you don't want to get too greedy, and it's just sort of like I really wish I had something more to say. I'd love to come back. I'd love to come back for anything.
The crossover of your fans and Star Wars fans. I remember the first time you popped up on screen, and how badly did your phone blow up that night?
It was because
messages and Twitter notifications.
The episodes dropped just before midnight on the West Coast, and I was East Coast time. So my phone started going off at about 3:30, about 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. Right, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like I knew there was going to be some response, but I didn't know how big it was going to be, and it was kind of, in a sense, it was almost kind of ridiculous because it was like Blog TO wrote a story about it, and it was just like this. I didn't think it was newsworthy, right? So. That's what got me, was just like the amount of reaction, and all these outlets, they wanted to interview me about it, which was just like it just sort of shows how big a deal Star Wars is out there. And you know, a lot of fans, and it means a lot to me, because they kind of go, we're living this experience through you.
Yeah.
You know, like, we love the support that I'm getting from the fan community is one of acceptance, because they're like, we love it because you're one of us.
Yeah.
And you get to do this, so we all get to do this. And that, for me, is the best form of validation ever, is to be accepted. Because I start off, I mean, I wasn't the lead on a TV show, or like, I start off as a fan. I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like to still be a fan and love actors and be like sort of flustered when you're going to go meet somebody whose work you really admire, who you never think you're going to get a chance to chat with. And so for the fans to back me in that way meant so much to me, almost more than getting cast in Star Wars, because it's that when you're accepted by fans, it's the best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling in the world. And that's why I always hold it with me too. It's like, fans deserve the best. They're the ones that make you, they're the ones that can break you, but they should be respected. They should be taken care of. You know, without fans, we don't have a lot of what we have right now, like the Comic-Cons or you know, or any of these things, these shows, because they're the ones that keep the fires burning. They're the ones that spread the word. And I love that. I love that. That's the best parts of fandom are that to me. It's community building. It is support. It is uplifting each other and supporting each other. That's the best part of fandom. And I don't think we get enough of that in the media. I think, you know, over in the past, fandom has always been looked at, oh, they're really extreme, or, you know, the seedy sort of like parts of it that are true of any sort of group. Yeah. But I think fans get jobbed way too much, and I'd love to see more of them being celebrated for the good that they do, rather than the odd things. Because I truly believe everybody's a fan of something, whether you want to admit it or not. People are fans of different things. And you know, that's why I'm doing that show with Great Pacific Media. We're developing a show called Fandomonium, where it is a celebration of the fans, and it is an exploration of what makes a fan and why it's important for fans. And not to sort of go, oh, isn't that fan weird because they do that? It's like, no, let's celebrate what these fans, like, what, you know, what they're going into, because we don't see that enough. And that shows my love letter to fandom and fans.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things for me, I see it took me a while. It literally took me years to realize this, was going into the South Building of the Metro Toronto Convention Center for Fan Expo and Toronto Comic Con, how there's a certain point that you know, you're going down 4 sets of escalators to get into the main hall of the South Building. And there's a certain point that you can't pass unless you have your pass or your ticket. And at that point, there was always this mass gathering of kids in cosplay, and they were, you know, the equivalent of a hippie drum circle. There were music was playing and they were dancing. And I realized finally a few years ago that those were kids who didn't even have passes to the convention, a lot of them. Right. But this was where they were meeting their friends. This was their gathering spot. It might as well have been the middle of a park, right. Just because it was just a place. It was, meet me by the big tree, meet me on the 600 level in the South Building, and we're gonna hang out. And I always think about how great it is that kids, especially kids who might not in their everyday lives feel they belong to anything, or might feel because of the things they enjoy that, you know, that they're being swept aside by whatever you would call the mainstream, that they have a community, and they have places like, you know, Fan Expo that they can, this is a commercial for Fan Expo all of a sudden, that they have.
They do that for Anime North too. They do it for a lot of
Anime North, another perfect example. I've only really been to Anime North once and wrestled on a show there, and then we got to spend the day walking around, and then across the street the hotel afterwards, where they were, you know, showing movies and having panel discussions, and by God, it's just, it's it doesn't matter whether it's my community, it's great that they have that community. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you about the fandom and enjoying and respecting it. Speaking about being a fan of something, Kim's Convenience. So that is where, now I know you going back to Train 48. So, but I know that a lot of people now really came to know and love you because of your role as Appa on Kim's Convenience and how big that show got. Where are you emotionally with the cancellation of the show?
You know, with time comes perspective, and when the show was done, I'm not going to say canceled because the network wanted it. The network didn't cancel it. If anything, the producers decided not to make the show anymore. So I don't know what word there is for that, but it's just like the cessation of of production.
Yeah.
You know, it was a very emotional time. It was raw. I felt in many ways abandoned, to be honest. I'd sunk 5 years of my life into just the TV show, but another 5 years prior to that doing the play, right? So I'd lived with this character for over 10 years. And I felt it was an ignominious end, and there was a lot of emotion coming from it. You know, it's been over a year now since that happened. With time comes perspective. I think I don't hold any ill will or malice anymore. I think I was really kind of caught up in the emotion. I was hurt with the way how it ended, basically. And I wanted more closure for the fans, for my character. I wanted that one last season. And when that didn't happen, it's sort of like you move on from it. I mean, there's a discussion to be had about what could have been done better on Kim's. It's not about finger pointing in my mind either. It really is about, I don't think anybody set out to sabotage the show or to do bad things and you know, there's some sort of villain in the background plotting its demise. I think mistakes happened. And the best outcome would be to sort of examine it and kind of go, okay, well, how can we avoid these mistakes for next time, so that, you know, other shows don't have to fall, you know, victim to the same mistakes. And especially because this is a BIPOC show with a BIPOC cast, and they're rare. They're rare, and it, you know, critically it was a success. So you got that rare unicorn where it was like, it was bringing in audiences from everywhere. You didn't have to be Asian to enjoy the show. You didn't have to be Korean. It was one of these universally loved shows. And that's a bit of a unicorn. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, things could have been done better. And so for the next show, how can we do that better? And I think that's the best discussion to have, and not about pointing fingers or blaming people, because everybody was doing their best. It was one of the first shows of its kind out there. Of course, mistakes are going to be made, but I don't want to focus on that either. I want to, the end, what was so upsetting was everybody was pointing at all the mistakes and all the missed opportunities and blah, but we didn't celebrate the 5 years of the show kicked down so many barriers for so many communities and for people and for actors of color and for writers and for directors and whatnot. We did a lot of good on that show as well, but that kind of got left in the dust because of the way the show ended.
Yeah.
Right. And so I choose to look back at it. I will always have fond memories of Kim's Convenience. Kim's Convenience was the reason why my career has continued on. So many blessings have come from planting that seed. I wouldn't have been able to do Star Wars without it. I wouldn't be doing Avatar without it. I wouldn't, I'd be living the life that I have right now if it were not for Kim's Convenience. So how can I not have that kind of gratitude in my heart? And I will always love Kim's Convenience. I will always love Appa. And at the end of the day, though, a year, I'm working on Avatar. I've done Star Wars. I think in a really sort of ironic way, it was good that the show ended when it did. Not how it did, but I think when it did, I think it was good for my career, just because I still get that, where it's like when you portray a character and that character becomes an iconic sort of presence in people's lives and they love him so much, it's hard to separate the character from the actor sometimes. So I still get people calling me Appa. So saying, okay, see you, and like saying this, and like when they see me in Star Wars, they go, oh, look, Appa's in space, or Appa's in this, and Appa's in that. It's like, well, no, he's not. The actor who's playing Appa is in this. But Appa is a character. I am an actor, right? And so there's that sort of separation, and I think I'm looking at kind of going, it's a good thing. It's a good thing as an actor. You kind of go, William Shatner's always going to be Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Right? He's always going to be Captain. To some, he'll be TJ Hooker.
Yeah.
But he's always going to be Captain Kirk, right? Same with Leonard Nimoy. And so all these guys, and so that's why for me, to be able to diversify my own career, right? And now it's like, I have fans who go, oh, I only know you as Captain Carson Teva. I had no idea about Kim's Convenience. And then they'll watch Kim's and go, oh my God, Carson Teva is in Kim's Convenience. And now when Avatar comes out, it'll be like, oh my God, he's Iroh. And so that's what I love, is the fact that as an actor, I don't want to get hemmed in too much with the types of roles I play. I don't, want to get typecast. And I still believe I have a lot more to give. And I'd love a lot more opportunities to do more things as well, not just one thing, one kind of thing. And so, Kim's has been, for me, except for that one sort of horrible period where everything came crashing down, continues to be a shining light in my career, and something that I will forever have gratitude, but love, extreme love and affection for.
Did it hurt your feelings just a little bit a couple of weeks ago when it was announced that the actual physical store that you used for Kim's Convenience was shutting down or being sold?
Yeah, that's life. I mean, it was Mimi's Variety before, and Bruce and Kay, who own the store, they're the Kim family right there. That was their store, but the thing is, their daughters have moved on. They're professionals now, and there's nothing for them at the store, and so. Bruce and Kay, they worked a long time. They deserve the cash in, which is awesome. And it's, at the end of the day, you kind of go, it's a place. It is a place. We'll always have those memories and the pictures and stuff. I've had people go up to me and say, well, you should buy it. Like, to me, that I should buy it. Oh, yeah.
You should buy a convenience store.
Yeah, of course, because that's what I should do for the rest of my life, is run a convenience store. No, but it's like, the sentimental value, and I get it, but it's like, but to what end? I mean, that's the progression of life. Sometimes it's a shame, and you kind of go, oh, okay. But to me, the real memories are here and here, right? Like in my heart. And it is they say home is where the heart is. That's kind of the same thing, and you kind of go, oh, well, that's a shame. But I mean, greater buildings have disappeared, in my mind, that are worth kind of like feeling really bad for. But the Kim's on a corner, I mean, it became this iconic spot. People from all over the world have been visiting it, but in the end, like everything else, it changes. It changes. Can't stay the same always. So.
Speaking about life changes, and I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
Because I know how it's going to come off at first, but bear with me. When are you moving to a bigger house? Because when you move into a bigger house, and you know why I'm asking.
I know.
How do you buy 2 and 3 12, 13-inch Hot Toys action figures a week?
You're making me squirm.
And not move into a new house, my friend. You gotta be running out of space.
I am. That's like space. Yeah, I'm serious. I am. I'm. Oh man, my wife and like I'm on the West Coast, so my friends have dubbed this place the West Coast Stash House because I have even more out here, and it's like
you went up to that store north of Vancouver, didn't you? What is the name of that toy store north of Vancouver? It's like 45 minutes outside of town.
You mean in Langley?
Yeah.
Toy Traders? Yeah, it's south of Vancouver. Yeah.
South of Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
dropped.
Oh,
that's a dangerous store for me.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. let me give you an over under. Let me give you an over under, and you can decide how much trouble you want to get in at home. $1,000. $3,000. A little more, a little over,
like including pre-orders, or just stuff that I've
including pre-orders.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Holy
maybe a little bit north of 5.
Oh,
maybe a little bit north of.
You know what? When times are good, it's so fun being a nerd.
Yeah. It's I have to admit there's a bit of Netflix money involved there and a little bit of TV money involved.
Are you just signing the back of your check and handing it over to them?
It's, you know what it is though, because I have my own YouTube channel too, and it is focused on unboxings and collectibles.
Yeah,
like it is for the channel. I mean, one of the nice side effects is I am a collector. And so I can curate, it will go in my collection. But I mean, it is, I do the unboxings, and all the stuff that I've purchased gets unboxed for my YouTube channel members.
Right. So it becomes symbiotic. The channel feeding the addiction. Addiction created the channel.
I've created an enabling, like a self-sustaining enabling device. It's one of those perpetual motion devices. Beautiful. But honestly, as space danger is a legit concern, and I have a number of Hot Toys still in the boxes. I mean, I think I've got like 20 and counting that are still in the boxes that I don't have room to display properly. And so what it becomes is I've stopped collecting Black Series. That's the 6-inch
6-inch Star Wars
scale. Yeah. So I have a fairly large collection of Black Series, so I'm getting rid of it. And by getting rid of, like, I'm going to be parceling them out and selling those pieces to make room for my Hot Toys collection. The 1/6 scale, fallen hard into that. I just love the level of detail for it. The crafts, the craftsmanship involved in it, the artistry is incredible for that. So there's that. And I've also got a whole whack of Playmobil sets, notably the entire first wave of the Ghostbusters thing, which is again that's got to go. And so you make these sacrifices, right? These little changes in terms of what you want to collect and how you want to collect it. And also, one of the other things, byproducts, is with the 1/6 scale figures. I want to get into 1/6 scale toy photography. And so that's the creation of dioramas, and they're just so detailed. And I've seen there's a number of different followers on my YouTube channel, my Instagram, that they're doing tremendous work. And so I'm looking at that going, oh, this is something that I would really, really love to sort of get around and exploring myself. And so there's that. And so the 1/6 scale is perfect for that. And so it's about branching out and using learning new skills and using what you have for it. And as well, I have a couple of 3D printers, and I want to start building dioramas with used by using the 3D print. So not only just for props, but also for these backgrounds that I can put these 1/6 scale figures in, and photograph them. So
amazing. I have a couple of people to introduce you to on Instagram. Then Paul Douglas, who works at Silver Snail here in Toronto and photographs Star Wars figures, and Ethan Page, AEW professional wrestler, who is a rabid Marvel action figure collector, and has his Instagram is either shot by Page or pics by Page. I can't remember offhand right now, but he does dioramas and stuff for Marvel figures and does some amazing photography. I'll show you both of them. You'll enjoy it. You might get some ideas. But yeah, we mentioned you do. Let me make sure I get this right. Fun Boxing Sundays.
Fun Boxing Sundays. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, every Sunday at 7.
Every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's right. On my YouTube channel, Bitter Asian Dude Inc. This started much like your podcasting started at the beginning of the pandemic. It was just, we were stuck at home. It was something to do. I just gotten the Skywalker Saga 4K gift set. And it was this huge box with 9 movies, 27 discs, collectible booklet, all this stuff. And my youngest was like, why don't you just do an unboxing video? And a friend of mine was like, yeah, you should do it, because like I want to see if I want to get it or not, or if it's worth it. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I'd seen unboxing videos on YouTube that my sons were watching, and I thought, oh, sure. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the whole process of it. And it was for me, because I just started with my iPhone. And the first video's up there, and I'm sitting at my dining room table, and my wife's walking back and forth, and it's so not professional. And like partway through, I think my phone rang and turned off the camera. And so I realized, oh, it hasn't been recording for the last 10 minutes. So I had to restart recording and stuff. But it became the challenge of, okay, well, how do I make this look better? And I started researching into lights and cameras and editing systems and sound and mics and stuff. And that's how the Geeky Basement sort of came to life. Cool. And it just, along the way, people just started subscribing to the channel. And I mean, we have, I think we have 16,000 subs in just a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years now. That's, for me, it was like, I didn't think I was going to get 10, to be honest. And so now it's grown. And I want to do more now too, because people like are really, really like the hardcore fans who watch every Sunday. It's like a gathering of your friends, and the chat is alive with everybody talking to each other and catching up with each other's lives and whatnot. And we have, giveaways and trivia contests. We're going to get a Kahoot up and running. And, I have some signed items that I'll have contests for people to get. I was in the Star Wars character encyclopedia, and a friend of mine got me 4 copies of it. So I signed 4 copies, and I personalized them and gave them out to subscribers who answered trivia questions correctly. Just this past Halloween, we had a 90-second horror film contest where people had to submit a 90-second horror short. That's terrific. It was great. Like, we had like 15 people submit, and it was a ton of fun. Yeah. So it's something that's I really, really love doing.
You talk about being in the Star Wars encyclopedia. Am I wrong to think that there's a Carson Teva action figure coming soon?
I have no idea. I would love to be able to. I don't think so. Not yet. They haven't announced anything. Hasbro's kind of weird that way. They follow the beat of their own drum. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I'm getting out of Black Series collecting as well. But I have not heard anything about Carson Teva getting a Black Series or vintage collector series, like a 3.75 inch or a hot toy or whatever. I have no idea.
It'll happen, my friend. It'll happen. It'll happen, and you will melt as a human being when you see yourself. To me, that's That's the snake eating its tail. That's
Yeah.
is you
I think
becoming
I'd be done.
an actual mass-produced action figure. You will melt.
That'd be
I
it for
hope
me.
I'm there to see it.
Oh, that'd be it for me. I don't know. Well, I mean, like these cards, like I thought this is the pinnacle.
Oh, that's nice.
Sorry, just focusing on.
I'm not looking into the camera for a second because it's, oh, look at that. That's nice.
And that's the second series of cards. The first series, the first wave. So this is part of like, they have these, hobby boxes, and it's one card per box, basically for the. So you're guaranteed an autographed card. But the box is like $90 Canadian. And so I've seen unboxings, somebody had like 20 boxes. I was like, that's like $2,000 worth of stuff you got there. And you only get 20 cards out of it. And he pulled one of mine, which is awesome. Anyways, I got this off of eBay, but it's one of these things where I thought, for me, it's like, that's peak nerddom when you get your own trading card. And you autograph it, and it's out there, and people are selling it and buying it. Like that for me blows my mind.
That's terrific.
So to get an action figure is gravy. Would be gravy. I mean, Jason Lowe built me a couple of custom, and he does toy photography as well as being a fantastic artist and storyteller and whatnot. And so that's I don't know. It's just something that I never ever thought, I keep saying this, I never thought would ever happen to me. And so I'm enjoying every second of this ride while I can. And people always say, oh, you must be sick and tired of talking about it. It's like, no, man, if anybody asks, I'm more than happy to tell, because again, I'm repping the community. And if people can live vicariously through me, then that's something I take seriously too.
Okay. We're gonna wrap up soon. I gotta let you go. I gotta let you get on with your life. I'm so grateful to you for taking the time to do this.
Oh no, anytime.
I have to ask you, through all of your fandom, and this is a question I plan to ask a lot of people coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you my example. What is your most strongly held but deeply, deeply inside baseball angry opinion about something in comics, movies, toys, whatever? And here, this is the opinion I'll now take to the grave with me, that as amazing a movie as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was, the fact that they didn't get Paul Soles, the voice of the original Peter Parker and Spider-Man from 1966, because he was alive and kicking and doing and still working at 90 at the time they were producing that movie, that they didn't get Paul Soles to voice Spider-Man in the meme Spider-Man pointing at each other scene after the credits, is to me one of the most insulting, wasted opportunities in all of my fandom. That is my obscure, why is this a problem for you opinion. Do you have a deep, 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 dusty complaint about something in your fandom?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is how, in my opinion, how idiotic the rebel forces were in Empire Strikes Back during the Battle of Hoth.
Okay.
Because you have a line of defense, which is basically ground troops and their turrets facing armored vehicles that are coming at them in a straight line with no air support. And so the rebels had their snow speeders. So they have the aerial advantage. And yet, this is, I don't know, is this Commander Skywalker's tactic? But they flew in straight at them, at the most heavily armored part, and the most, where the focus of the fire is concentrated. thereby creating a suicide mission instead of attacking them from the sides or heaven forbid from behind, because there were no guns facing behind them. And yet the Battle of Hoth was lost because they were like, hey, let's harpoon their legs and zip around instead of like, why don't we just attack them at a 90-degree angle? Because they don't seem to be able to turn. So that kind of always bothered me, like just the tactics used on the Battle of Hoth, because it's like, they could have beat them.
You deserve to lose.
Yeah, it's like, but you went straight at them. It's like saying, having somebody with a machine gun and going, shink, pulling out a sword and going, charge, and running straight at the machine gun. You kind of go, why? Just go fly around. You just fly around and to the side, right? And it's like, oh, that armor's too thick for blasters. It's like, but the rear isn't. You can go and shoot them in the ass.
It's the Wile E. Coyote mentality of the tree is falling and you run in a straight line. Just 3 feet to one side and you're fine, you dumb wolf.
And so that I mean, it's not as deep cut. And I've had arguments with other friends over this. It's like, oh, come on, it's just a movie. But there are things about that in movies where I kind of go, yeah, but
takes you out of it.
Like, yeah, if you don't go, well, why didn't they just, if you ever say that, then it's a poorly conceived or written out sort of strategy, I think. It's like, well, why didn't they just, it's like, shh, just enjoy the movie. It's like, no, I won't, because that part bugs me. Why didn't they just do that?
That's the beautiful thing about Mystery Science Theater 3000. It tells you in the theme, don't worry about the food or the oxygen. It's just a TV show.
Right.
What before I let you go, one last thing. What are you watching? What are you reading? What pop culture are you consuming these days that isn't an Avatar script?
Yeah, I have I'm trying to get through Dune, the novel version of it, before I watch the movie.
Okay.
I saw the David Lynch version like when I was a kid, and I didn't understand it, didn't like it. So with the new Denis Villeneuve version of it, I was like, no, I'm gonna read the Herbert version of the novel first. I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna watch the movie. I've not gotten past page 20. It's it's a book that's written in a while, and so it's a different style, so it's kind of hard to get into. I just finished watching, not just finished, but I watched Peacemaker on HBO Max. That's the continuation of the Suicide Squad. Love it. I think it is the best opening titles sequence of all time.
Yes.
I will fight to the death on that one.
Yes.
And I'm starting up Taika Waititi's Our Flag Means Death, which is his version. Basically, it's The Office for pirates.
Wait a minute. Wasn't The Office for Pirates a Monty Python skit? Wasn't it a musical?
It was. Yeah, they had that in one of their movies. Actually, can you hold on for a second? There's something. Sure.
It's show and tell time. I bet you it's show and tell time. What could this possibly be?
It's just hard to get to. So another thing that I've been doing lately is I have been rewatching a series that I adored when I was a kid called Space 1999.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, because Eagle Moss, they have a line called Hero Collectors, and I've got all their BSG stuff from the classic Battlestar to the 2004 reboot version, the Ronald D. Moore version, the RDM version of it. And they just started releasing the Eagle transport system, which for me is an iconic spaceship of my youth. And so I just started rewatching the episodes. They're on Amazon Prime. My wife got me actually the full DVD box set, and I want to upgrade it to the Blu-ray box set. But then I did this deep dive because I found out that there's a company called 1612, and they are hardcore Space 1999. I pre-ordered a 1-to-1 scale replica model of the helmet. But I also did a deep dive, and I was able to pull up. So this is a Commander Koenig.
Oh, okay.
This is like a 1/12 scale. It's like a 6-inch fig. It is like the detail on it is sick, which I love. And then this one, I was able to. This was out of print for a while, but I was able to track one down via eBay. And this is Captain Alan Carter, who is one of my favorite characters too. But it comes with a little moon buggy on it. So that's the other thing that I've kind of fallen because in terms of the hot toys, the Star Wars stuff, a lot of it is on pre-order because it's not being released till later on this year or next year.
Right.
And so to scratch that little itch, I've been kind of going.
I just thought to myself, I need a small Martin Landau in my life.
But it's awesome. Like I always wanted to dress up like him when I was a kid, right? And I remember taking we had these cardboard boxes with oranges in them, and I would like draw like this the survival like this backpack.
Oh,
bit.
right. Okay.
I would draw that and I'd wear it on my back, and I'd have this like. Oh, I tried a plastic bag one time. Didn't work very well. It's a space.
Oh, come on.
That was the craziest. I had this plastic bag over my head.
Don't make me put a safety warning on the podcast, Paul.
Right? Because of me, Anthony had to have a warning. And it was just like, and I couldn't breathe. And my dad was like, yeah. So
we were kids in the you're a couple of years younger than me. We were kids in the 70s when it was like if you're home before the street lights come on, I don't care what you did.
Yeah. And they didn't like my mom and dad, they never knew where we were.
Yeah.
Just disappear on your bike.
Yeah.
That was it.
Woods behind the house. Who knows what's going on back there? Could be Lord of the Flies. Come home.
It was Lord of the Flies.
Come home for dinner and you're fine.
Yeah.
Amazing. Paul Sun-HYUNG Lee, thank you very much for joining us today on the Handsome Genius Club video show. Tell people again how to find you on the social medias and on especially on YouTube.
Very cool. I do. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Bitter Asian Dude Inc. You can check it out. A lot of fun content. It's basically the main show is a live stream called Funboxing Sundays every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, where I open up a geeky collectible. I do a half-ass review and we chat, and it's a really good time. There are drinking games. There's the occasional giveaway, and it's a really fun time to hang out and be a geek and a nerd. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at Bitter Asian Dude. And on Instagram, which is at Angry Appa, actually. So you can check me on those social media outlets as well. And I do have a Facebook page, but I'm rarely on that. But it would be Paul Sun-HYUNG Lee. Facebook is. There's only so many hours in the day, and it's hard to keep. And I still do run all my socials by myself.
One of the things I learned in one of my marketing classes this week is that Facebook is dying.
Yeah.
The number of 13 to 17-year-olds who are using or joining Facebook is so far below their portion of the population. It's just not a good. Facebook is dying, my friend.
Yeah.
It's just us old using it now.
And that's the sign. When the median age of the using group is starts to rise, that's when it starts to die. So that's live journal waiting to happen. Yeah.
Paul, thank you very much for coming on the show. I look forward to seeing you randomly at another walked up to me in Vancouver dressed as a Jedi, and I was just like, Paul, what the hell are you doing here?
I'm going to the cons because I love going to cons and cosplay.
Fantastic, man. I'll talk to you soon, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, Paul.